I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite people and how he has proven that most people would rather be lied to, and that's including you. And you can ask yourself by the end of this video if you would rather listen to people who would lie to you about their relationships, mindset, and success, or if you'd rather be a part of the small minority who would want to be told the truth, even if that truth is hard to hear. Let me introduce you to the late James Randi, aka the amazing Randi, who was a magician who is arguably the best escape artist since Houdini. And as a master of illusion, much like his predecessor Houdini, Randi dedicated his life to exposing bullshit. He focused against all of the frauds, fakes, and phonies and running scams and making false claims. And he focused on outing those people. And the self-help industry today is just as riddled with scammers who are making false claims, leading people to their demise today as they were 10, 20, 50 years ago. Now, you think that people would be excited, though, about this, right? That, like, when Randi would show people that their favorite psychic or magical healer or guru or spiritualist was false, you would think that people would be grateful that they learned the truth and that those people would then no longer spend their money on those individuals, right? Well, the uncomfortable truth that Randi exposed was something deeper about ourselves. And that is that sometimes we would rather be lied to than face the truth. Now let's unpack how he did it. In the most recent documentary about his life, James Randi said,
"Some people cannot believe that a magician can fool them in such a way that they can't figure it out. But magicians can, and magicians do. Swindlers do, con men do all the time. They're not magicians. They're fakes. They're lying to us. They're deceiving us. It's okay to fool people as long as you're doing that and teach them a lesson which will better their knowledge of how the real world works. No matter how smart or well-educated you are, you can be deceived."
and this truth couldn't be more true. I'm an expert in human behavior, and I learned how to persuade people. With those skills, I also had to learn the distinction between deceiving and duping people as opposed to persuading them, so that I could be sure that I wouldn't dupe anybody or lie to people. And that isn't as easy as it sounds. And in my education on human behavior, I realize how easy it can be to lie to people because that is often what they want you to do. So, by learning and using persuasion skills and by teaching others these skills, I was able to learn how easily people can be conned or duped. And Randi learned that as well in his work as a magician. He learned that not only was it easy to trick anyone, no matter how smart they seemed, but that people wanted to be tricked. And that was why they bought tickets to see a magic show to begin with. But he used to call himself an honest liar. He knew how people liked to be fooled. So he would tell people that he was going to fool them. Yet he watched people around him in other areas and other industries who would make millions of dollars per month in some cases, doing far easier tricks of deception than those that Randi would do. And they would be conning other people out of their money in doing it. As a human behavior expert in the self-development field, I can relate to Randi's pain. Part of what I do is I help people see what is fake so that they can get real results in their life. Yet, I watch people in this space of self-development getting millions of views and becoming rich off of lying to you. And it works because most people want to be lied to. I understand what James Randi had to go through because I'm doing it right now. All right. He used to hate watching people suffer off of the lies of charlatans, as do I. All right. So I'll use an example of one of his most famous takedowns, and that was a man named Peter Popoff, a televangelist who's still alive today, by the way, who claimed that God whispered secrets in his ear during faith healing shows. People threw money at him, desperate for miracles, and Randi just wasn't buying it. He intercepted radio signals and caught Popoff's wife feeding him information through a earpiece that they had they gathered that information through prayer cards before all of his televangelist meetings. Right. So this is an old and easy con. It was also used by Discovery Channel's Jonathan Edwards. If you remember that guy, he was a guy who claimed to be able to talk to the dead on national television. So he had this show with millions of people watching it and believing it. And all he did was he had people write down information on cards before the show, and then he would use the earpiece, and it would make him seem like he's a psychic talking to the deceased. It's an easy technique that's just been used over and over again. Peter Popoff's messages from high above had been a con, and Randy proved that he was a grifter, stealing from millions of his viewers, stealing from them with his lies, right? And people were paying a lot of money with believing what he was telling them, and none of it was true. And he proved it on national television, and it was aired on national television. Now, you would think that people would see the hoax when it had been clear that this guy was lying to them and deceiving people, and that you would think that people would at the very least stop sending him money, right? And stop following the guy and giving them giving Peter Popoff their energy. I mean, really, guys like that should be brought up on criminal charges. But do you know what people did instead? They doubled down. That's correct. They sent more money to Popoff, and they got so angry at James Randi that some of them sent death threats and everything else just because he exposed this guy and told them about the lies. Why did they do that? Well, the lies that Popoff was telling them felt better than the truth. Fast forward to today. Randy's lessons still hit home. You've seen them yourself. You've seen the pickup artists who lie about things that shouldn't be important, like their lay counts, and whether you know it or not, you'll see them on their Instagram, and these guys will pay girls either with money or with free access to parties and booze and drugs, and they'll just use these girls for photo ops for their Instagram, and then they'll turn around and promise lonely guys that you could land any hot girl just like they do with their secret tricks. Yet the girls you see with them on their Instagram aren't there due to any of the tricks that they're trying to grift and teach you. But guys yet will still pay grifters for these courses and to go to their events. Now, this is a really hard thing to accept when you realize it. And Randy would have loved exposing these guys if he was around today, if he was put on the task. He would point out the scripts, the stage testimonials, the marketing techniques, and all the smoke and the mirrors, right? But regardless of who points out these frauds, many guys will still keep signing up for their stuff and still keep paying them. Guys will still continue to subscribe and watch channels with grifters who offer no solutions to their problems. And why is that? Because most people would rather be lied to. Most people would either be told that magic is real, or they want to be told that anything that would help you improve is actually fake. So it's like one or the other thing. That the world, and they want you to, some would want you to believe a world is a shitty place and you can never really change, can never get results, and you just need to commiserate with them. That's one angle. And then there's the other angle of, here's some magical powers you can do, right? They either want to be told, once again, either magic is real, or maybe they get disappointed when they realize magic isn't real. And then it's the other thing. You can't do anything to change yourself. It's this bilateral thinking. All right. And that's what people seem to be looking for. And there's people grifting off of either of those things. Well, there's a lot to the world that's between magic being real, okay, which it isn't, or, hey, nothing is fascinating, everything sucks, which isn't true. There's a lot of things in the middle there that you can use to help yourself. In the 1980s, Peter Popoff was reportedly making $4 million a year, which is $16 million in today's dollars. He was doing this through fake healing people at services and seminars and on national television. James Randi exposed him and actually made him more money in the end and in the long run rather than less, because what it demonstrated to Popoff was that people would still, support him and that they didn't care. So he's able to get even more bold in his lies. All right. People wanted to be lied to, And when exposed, it just allowed the grifters to lie more. So his scams actually got easier to spot and more ridiculous, and people just bought into them even more. And now Popoff holds a tax exempt status at age 78, where he still scams people to the extent of whatever he wants, and his income's not even reported. So James Randi now, who made a living off of telling people the truth, yeah, he did okay with himself. He did an estimated net worth of 1.5 million when he died a few years ago, but that's a far cry from the scammers who made 4 times of his life savings in just 1 year. Randi wrote, "People aren't stupid. They're emotionally invested. A psychic saying that your grandma is proud of you, or a faith healer promising you a cure, or a dating coach swearing that you'll never be lonely again if you use his tricks. All those lies feel good, but the truth is often much colder than that. What James Randi proved is that we will pay big money to keep up an illusion." All right. Now, I sort of disagree with him on some of that. I think that some people are, in fact, just fucking stupid. I think that's a fact of life we need to accept. He was a little more optimistic than I am. But I do agree with him that emotions make everybody stupid. All right. And no matter how smart you actually are. And even more so, when I talk about neurology, I can demonstrate how the mind can actually trick itself regardless of your intelligence level. The subconscious mind, the instinctual mind, and mammalian brain, and the emotions, those are very real. And they can skew your perceptions, and they can make you chase lies, and they can make you lie to yourself. Randy's biggest lesson was, to me, was that frauds thrive because we let them. We human beings are wired for meaning, even if that meaning is fake. The amazing Randy passed away in 2020, but his work still challenges us. Do we want the truth or the comfortable lies? From faith healers to dating scams, Randy's answer was clear. Most of you are going to pick the lies. So which do you pick? Are you going to believe some black pill doomer who tells you that you can't have good relationships because of something you can't control? Or some overpromising high value man guru that promises that if you just buy his stuff or join his group and be like him, that millions of dollars are going to fall out of your asshole? Do you buy into the next crypto scam? Do you buy into the next, scammy business venture, or the next magical pickup artist thing? Do you keep ruining your chances of success by putting your time and energy into grifters and inadvertently helping those grifters grift and dupe others just through your views, subscription, and support? Or do you want the truth? A big part of having frame in your life, and frame with women and your relationships, and a big thing about getting what you want out of life, is knowing what the truth is. But if you don't want that, then I guess you can just send me your money instead so I can send up those prayer requests. What do you think? Truth or lies? Which do you choose? If you like being told the truth, and if you actually want to get real results in your life, not through magic tricks, because those aren't real, but through actionable skill sets and things that you can do to make yourself better, join my community down below. It's free, and the link is in the description.